Walter, we're ready when you are.
Okay. Welcome to the Board of Sewer Commissioners meeting Thursday, February 4th, 2021. Please be advised that this open meeting is being broadcast live and recorded by WRPS for playback on demand within 24 hours of this event at WRPSRockland.com. Thank you. We'll start with I'll make a motion to approve the meetings of the previous meeting, December 3rd, I believe it is.
I'll second.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Walter, do you want to let Stacy go first so she can hop out?
Yes, that's a good idea. Okay, Stacy. On the superintendent position, you can start.
Okay, so I guess really I'll just sort of start by asking the two of you, did you have a chance to rank the candidates before coming into this meeting?
I didn't rank them. I know who I'd like to see in for a second interview.
Okay, so if you both agree on the same top two candidates, then you can, basically move on from that point. We can invite them both back at the next meeting and discuss, if there's anything that you need to have done before the second interviews.
All right.
So Walter, do you want to start?
Yes, I picked candidate number 4, Brian Kiley from Hull, and candidate number 2, Keith Nastasha, Director of Public Works in Randolph.
Okay, Chuck, do you have anything different?
Nope, I'm in the same agreement.
Oh, I love that.
Mm.
Yes, that makes life easy, huh? So, all right, well, so at this point then, I can reach out to both of them and let them know that we're going to schedule them for the final interview.
All right, Stacy, if I may, what I'd like to see happen, to give them a heads up, is Rick and Ed give them a plant tour. I think that will generate a lot of good question and answer back and forth in a second interview.
Okay. Are you in agreement with that, Walter? I just want to make sure you're all in agreement before.
Yes, I am.
Okay, great.
I think it's a good idea.
So maybe after Rick, maybe I'll grab your email from, are there any issues with that? I know the plant's in lockdown. Can you approve that?
No, yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
The only thing I will ask Stacy is work-wise, I've got a pretty hectic calendar for February, so you can just give me a much heads up as possible. I can give you opening days.
Well, you mean for the tour?
No, for that second interview.
Oh, for the second interview, sure. I guess I was going to leave that up to you both. I left my February, because are all of your meetings on Thursdays afternoons?
Us?
Yes. Yes.
So I left my Thursdays open for the month of February because I didn't know when the next, when the final interviews would be.
Well,
are you going to go as early as the 11th, or are you going to go to the 18th?
Well, you know what I was wondering is, I guess it's all up to Rick and Ed when they can get the tour in. What is the second to last Thursday, the 18th?
Yes. So that would give, if you did the 18th, that would give us next week or the beginning of the 18th to schedule those. Well, Monday, the 15th is a holiday actually. So that would leave just the 16th and 17th of that week before your meeting.
I can't.
Well, you wouldn't be there. You can't.
Oh, no. For the I can't do either one of those days. I couldn't that week after the holiday. I can't do the interviews. I won't be available.
Oh, you mean on the Thursday night for a meeting?
No, the Thursday night meeting for us would be, oh, I see what you're saying. Schedule the interviews for Thursday night, the 18th.
Right, whenever your next meeting.
Oh, no,
is.
I
If
could
you're
do
gonna
that after
schedule a
7, yeah.
meeting for Thursday night,
No, I'll
is what I
pencil
was
it in.
saying.
I'll check tomorrow and I'll let you know for sure.
Okay, so then well, yeah, you guys can let me know when the next meeting is. I'll make sure it's on my calendar. And then in the meantime, maybe I can have Dave, I can grab Rick's email and
Yeah.
Ed's email, and we'll work out a dates and times available that I can reach out to the candidates and find out their availability as well. That work for you guys?
Stacy, this is Robin. Should we just pick the date for the next meeting now while we're here? Because we typically try to do it by the end of the meeting. Sometimes we forget, but
Okay.
maybe Walter and Chuck might want to just pick the date for the next meeting.
Let me grab a calendar.
Robin, would you need the use of WRPS Studios like the last time?
I believe we would if for the final interviews.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
Thank you, Chris.
You know, I'm really sorry. Is there any way we could do it the 25th? Unless you want to do the interviews before that, I could do like 22nd, 23rd, or 24th at night.
Walter?
Well, that's, Stacy, are you gonna,
It looks like at night I should be available. Well, it's not like I got much going on at night these days anyways, right? So, I work late, I work Tuesday nights, here anyways. And then I can be available any night. It looks like,
what time is the, are you thinking, Chuck?
Any of those nights, I could be that week, say the week of the 22nd, I could be here after 5 o'clock or later, 4 o'clock or later. I could do.
4 o'clock or later?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I can be available. Okay, so
You want to choose a day?
you want to choose a day right now? or-
What? Stacy, why don't you pick the day? I mean, what's,
Okay, let's do, Tuesday, the 23rd.
done?
And then that gives us 2 weeks to book the tour with the candidates and prepare for questions for the second interview.
You want to pick a time?
Did you say, are you?
Same thing where they're working? Do the
I'm
same
working.
thing where those guys are working? 7 o'clock?
Oh, sure, we can do 7 o'clock.
No, because I'm thinking that they're still working.
They are. I'm sure if I gave them ahead of time, want to try, yeah, what up? 7's fine.
You make the arrangements, we'll be there.
7's fine, we're good.
And Stacy will do it in the studio like last time, same setup.
Perfect. Okay, so I think I think that would be it for me. We'll just offline, I'll ask if you have specific second interview questions, and I'll put that together and make sure everybody has that before the second set. I'll reach out to Ed and Rick, set up the tours. And is there anything else you need from me in the meantime?
So,
No.
All right.
Oh, Stacy, are you gonna, will you be contacting the 2 candidates
Yes,
before the tour and everything?
yes. I'll
Maybe-
contact all of them. I like to let everybody know whether they move forward or
Yeah.
not, so they're not waiting. I know this will be taped, but I'll
Well,
make
on-
sure they all know from me.
On the 23rd, maybe you could ask them what would be a good time for them. Let
On the
them,
20, on the 23rd?
yeah, for the final.
Yep. And instead of starting at 7 PM?
Yeah,
Okay. Are you so if they can come earlier, did you want to start earlier? Is that what you're?
yeah, if, you know,
All right, I'll let you all know.
works into their
We'll pick up
schedule.
the 23rd, and I'll let everybody know the definite time.
Okay,
All right.
Oh, thanks,
Everyone
Dave.
good?
thank you, Stacy.
Great, thank you. Have a great night.
You
Good
too.
night, Stacy.
Good night, Robin.
Okay, number one. I'd like to approve the minutes of the previous meeting, December 3rd.
We just did that.
Oh, yeah, all right, sorry. All right, as far as number two, A.W. Perry update,
Yeah, that was me putting that on again.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the capacity thing, and I'm curious to what conversations have taken place with A.W. Perry. Dave,
Just that initial conversation when you reached out to me, I think it was a couple months ago when you needed the estimated build out numbers for the plan evaluation.
do you know how,
That's it.
do they know how they're doing it? Because you was pretty specific in saying they're doing 2 phases. Do you have any idea what's going on yet, or?
Yeah, well, that was Richard Beal. Since then, Richard Beal passed away, like right after I reached out to him. He was the
What'd you do?
CEO.
What'd you do? Tell them the fees?
No, no. So they did a preliminary estimated build out, which was what is in his email. And then they approximately had to build out at 300,000 square feet. And it would be multiple phases, but he had the first 2 phases down. The first phase would be 15,000 gallons per day. And the second phase would be 24,000 gallons per day. And then it would build up to, the 70,000 gallons per day after the total 300,000 square foot build out. But that's long-term down the road. I mean, he didn't see anything, coming for a while. So,
Yeah, because like I said, the reason I'm going in that is I'm watching the I because again, what I have down, I'm including them because they are on the projected. What I'm looking at is that what we've already approved is 40,000 gallons. Now with pending, we have, I included the A.W. Perry shingle mill and other 40B projects, the other 2 40Bs we got. So that there is another 144,500 gallons a day. The base you had down is another 100,000 gallons a day, but I'm going to write that off because I don't see how we can accommodate them. And I'm looking at the agreement. I don't think we have to supply them sewer to that. But if you look at those numbers approved to our RNI, again, I know I'm being redundant, but I just want to keep you guys aware of it. We've already approved what under the 11:1 ratio that we've got to remove 440,000 gallons. That day, that's approved. And the pending, if the pending goes through, that's 1.6 million.
yeah, I'm not sure what are you figuring for projects, developments that are approved right now? Because
Right now I have approved Norman Street.
right.
We approved Concord Street. I know that may change. We approved 1D, so I'm using their numbers.
Right.
I'm using LaPointe's.
Which one, LaPointe?
LaPointe will be 14.5 down at Spruce Street that we did the other day. I
Yeah,
know he's not pending, but he's coming before us.
no, that's off the board.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah, per a conversation with John Stone in Abington, they're gonna do an on-site facility.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah.
So that leaves us, instead of 440, that's 24,000 we've got approved. And so that'd be, say, 250,000 gallons we gotta take out.
I'm not sure, where are you getting the 440 from, Chuck?
The 11:1 ratio.
Okay. You're looking at the replacement value?
Yep. I mean, we gotta look at that if we're gonna accommodate it.
Well, you can't look at Lydia Square because that got taken over by the state, so there's no 11:1 replacement there.
With who?
The state took it over.
Took over what?
Lydia Square. That's Norman Street. We didn't have anything to do with that. There were no fees on that. We talked about that about 5 or 6 months ago.
I know that, but we still got to accommodate the gallons.
Right, but you're not gonna get an 11-to-1 ratio back because there's no remediation fees on it.
Okay, you're right there. Okay, well, it is what it is. I mean,
Right,
take that out. What's that? That was a grand total of 5,700 gallons. That's, I can recalculate that one. We still got a lot in there. Okay, so Norman's off the books, right?
yeah, there's nothing we really can do over there from the developer unless they come in for a second building.
Okay,
And Wendy's was small, it's a small
oh,
accommodation.
Wendy's is small potatoes, yeah, but
Mhm.
that's still got to be counted.
Yeah, and then also the Concord Street, from my understanding, that is getting chopped in half from what I understand.
Yeah, it is, but we still,
Yeah.
all I'm going on is what we've approved for numbers.
Right,
So if it comes down, it's still to the plus of us, but.
yeah,
Okay, and the only other one I wanted to bring up was the brewery that, I know they haven't come before us yet. They haven't even come to zoning yet, but if they do, there's gonna be a ton of information we're gonna need from them, up front to go over. So I just want to make sure they have time to supply that to us before they, put in an application for a permit.
yeah, I mean, my suggestion would be on that, Chuck, is we reach out to them, try to set up an early meeting so we can open up communication with them.
I would definitely do that. I would agree to that.
I just thought I'd bring it up just, if, just to get the line of communication open, see
No,
what they're
definitely.
thinking
I'd like to
about.
be, yep, I'd like to be a part of that.
Yeah. We could set it up so they come in and actually attend the meeting.
Okay,
If the board wishes me, I could reach out to Article 15 and the brewery company and see where they're at.
say that again?
If you guys want to make a vote on it, I could reach out to them and see where they're at, so we could set something up, maybe get them on the agenda if they're up for it, for a preliminary meeting.
Yeah, Walter, I'd like to make a motion that we do that because if they don't go closed loop, it's gonna be a huge impact. And plus, they're a big water user too. I'd like to get, I know they're gonna be going larger in size than they are now. I've got the drawings. So I'd just like to hear from the horse's mouth what their plans are.
I'll I'll second that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Dave, feel free to,
Okay,
thank
I'll
you.
reach out to you and give you guys an update as soon as we hear back from them.
Okay, is that it?
Yep.
Okay, number 6.
Comprehensive study.
Well, pardon?
You want to do you want to do the remediation fee?
Yes,
All right.
the increase
I
from
think
10,
that was the $20 from $10 or something, Dave.
from 10
Yeah,
to 20.
you were looking to bring that up from the $10 up to the $20 for the remediation?
Yes,
I'll make a motion that we increase the remediation fee from $10 to $20 a gallon.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now back to the comprehensive study update.
Here we go. See if I can get it going.
Dave?
All right. Okay, Chris. Okay, well, wait a minute. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Yes.
We can see the PowerPoint presentation. Nothing's popped up yet.
Ah, okay, you got it?
Yeah, it's on.
Okay, this is, what I did is I took some of the key slides out for the public to, I didn't want to give the whole Wright Pierce presentation because it was just too long. It was an 8.5 hour meeting. But there's a lot of conversation on what capacity is and what design capacity is. And I wanted to explain to them that capacity is the number of units. In our case, it's a million gallons a day that a facility can hold, receive, store, or process in a given amount of time. Now, by engineering standards, design capacity is the theoretical maximum output of a system in a given period of time under ideal conditions. That's new equipment, new facility, no wear and tear. Now, where we are now is that our facility was designed in 1962 with a design capacity of 2.5 million gallons a day. Now, we have had on several occasions due to heavy rains handled 6 million gallons a day. You couldn't do that on an everyday basis, but we have done it. We went through a minor upgrade in '84, which I think was the building lab and some other small issues. And our NIPD's permit today is our flow limits us to 2.5 million gallons a day of permitted flow. That flow goes into French's Stream, which is an impaired water body, excuse me. Now, Rockland was placed under an EPA administrative order in 2006 for repeated flow violations, exceeding the 2.5 million gallon limit. That order is still open. They don't close it usually until the following permit is issued. But we issued corrective actions for that order, and those were to put a moratorium in place limiting new uses. We charge a fee to waive that if they want to connect, and that fee goes to remove 11 gallons of wastewater for every one they add. That's to treat the I&I. That's strictly wastewater. We also told them that a comprehensive study of the facility to assess its condition and capacity was in progress. Now with that, what we did is we took out several bids. We put out a scope of work in June of last year. We entertained 3 key bidders to assess the project and who we selected. Wright Pierce was recommended by the town administrator only to participate in the bid. He did not come out and say select them, but they've never done work for us before, and come to find out, they were the most, I think unanimously agreed, they were the most thorough bidder and met every aspect of our scope of work then they submitted their bid, and they were right on the money as far as the others. We had allocated $100,000 for the study. In actuality, it came into about $124,000. The superintendent put in I guess an attachment, for lack of a better word, to that, and it went up to the 124 to cover the scope of work, cover the study. The meeting was held on December 10th via Zoom with myself, Dave Taylor, Rick and Ed from Suez, and it lasted almost 8.5 hours. It was by no means, or no stretch of the imagination, a quickie. It was a very in-depth, thorough review with a lot of good back and forth, questions and answers. Now, I want to emphasize that this study did not include the 13 pump stations around town or the underground infrastructure outside of the facility. This was solely within the plant. Now, they were charged with evaluating the infrastructure. And that infrastructure includes all the assets within of the plant, the equipment, the buildings, everything, the electrical, the plant hydraulics, how we handle our solids, the inflow pumping and grit removal, the clarification process, secondary treatment systems, and everything else involved in it. Again, I'm not going to go into the detail of that. I'm only going to provide the key slides because there's just a lot of heavy engineering detail on it. Now, the key findings of that report, and it says it for itself, is other than the new rotating equipment, which are pumps, 95% of all the equipment at the plant should be considered well past their life expectancy. Now, this includes the process, the electrical, plumbing, and mechanical HVAC systems. The pumps have to be replaced on a pretty frequent basis because they're heavily used and they're in a very corrosive environment. And that's something that you expect on and that you would, you'd expect to see in a survey of this nature. The other thing they came out and said that the equipment is not just slightly beyond its life expectancy, it's way beyond their life expectancy. They gave us a definite and very blunt assessment that if some of the items fail at the plant, it could be catastrophic due to the inability to get parts due to the age of the system and given how old the items are. And this includes the electrical systems and aeration device. It could have a wide impact and could imply, what they were saying, part of the implications could be a partial shutdown or fines or fees from the EPA, and heaven forbid we impact French's stream. Their main concern on failure centered around the mechanical aerators at the end of the process because they're very difficult to replace. And if those should fail, we more than likely have a permit compliance issue, and that's where the fines would step in. And they told us that we should, they came right out and said it, we have to prepare a contingency plan for not if something should happen, but when it does. They really suggested that we develop a supplemental oxygen delivery system for the aeration tanks in the case the event that they fail. Like I said, one of the key charges we gave them was to be blunt and not to hold any punches, and they lived up to that. Now, some of the key findings were that the influent pump station, the structure itself is a viable structure. That's at the very head of the process. And there's no overt structural concerns. I think Rick, Ed, and I had some concerns on the way they wanted to handle the grit in that portion of the process. And I feel that there's still some more conversations that need to take place as far as that goes. As far as keep further findings was that there is significant structural cracking throughout the facility, especially in the nitrification tanks, and the secondary settling tanks and pumping galleries. These cracks are all repairable. They're going to take time and money, but you can fix them with epoxy resin injection. A lot of the tanks were missing, and we don't have installed water stops. They can address that. And they have some structural concern with the location of our nitrification pump gallery. A couple of other key issues, and they wanted to emphasize to us, is that none of the electric, fire, or HVAC are up to code. There's a lack of single disconnects in each building and other issues. And as well as especially the fire prevention code, and with the HVAC is adequate ventilation in some key areas. With that said, I think later on, it behoove us to run that by our insurance carrier. Now, for the public, when they looked at this, excuse me, we had supplied them with a phenomenal amount of data. I mean, we went back as far as we could reach to give them data on flows, violations, any burps in the system, any repairs we have done. They took all that into consideration, and the only reason I'm putting this slide up is to show you that, you know, it's just one example of the things they looked at. And they looked at our loads in terms of flows, which again, with flows, we're going to say capacity, in the loads being the contaminants of concerns, what I call COCs. And I know the big question everyone had and everyone's been bantering about, they said, the question is, can the wastewater treatment plant handle the current and approved pending sewer connections? And their answer was very, very bluntly this, and please understand, they said, if the plant is originally designed, it can and could treat the additional flows and loads. However, the plant is in its current condition should be considered well past the current life expectancy, and that goes back to the design capacity definition. And they're recommending that if an immediate upgrade is recommended to maintain the successful treatment of our current loads and flows. If an immediate upgrade is not completed, successful treatment of current or any additional flows and loads are going to be severely compromised. Now, this is their words. And again, this is a company that has never done work for this plant previously. Now, again, they went into not just what we're doing, they went into our potential population growth. They looked at the Metropolitan Area Planning Council's potential of growth. And they came up with some design assumptions to use in their calculations. And they were on the low end of that. What I'm showing you on this slide here is the expected secondary and tertiary element data, which is really meaningless right now until we get into more of the detail of the processes that they're suggesting. One of the main processes they're looking at is Suez and Rockland are probably looking at stricter phosphorus levels. Right now, our level is 0.2 micrograms per liter, I believe. And the new EPA regulations are looking at 0.1 to 0.05, which is unbelievably strict. Now, these limits really pertain to the warmer months where you have bacterial growth, and that is in the May to October timeframe. So we're going to have to address an entirely new process here for phosphorus removal. And it's going to require some significant modifications of plant hydraulics or even a new effluent station installed at the facility. Again, one of the big concerns was the electrical distribution at the facility. And I've recently found out in the past few months how bad it was that during periods of heavy rain, there is actually water flowing through the electrical conduits and the panels, the electrical panels. The other thing they're going to be looking at is we have 4 anaerobic digesters on site, and that is a heavy duty asset number to carry on the books, and they're going to be evaluating the cost benefit of keeping those rather than going to a new process. Now, this next slide, the planned hydraulics, excuse me, was just added because it's on there. It was on there on that slide. So where we are today, we're at a maximum design capacity. 2020's numbers are really skewed because we're in a 14-month record drought, and there's significant COVID reductions in business, commercial, restaurants, et cetera. Up until December, with that drought, we were at 2.44 million gallons a day capacity. Just show you how much rain affects it. September and December with 5.8 inches of rain, we averaged, monthly average was 3.44 million gallons a day. Now, the status of the facility is just, it's inevitable. You can't avoid it. We need an immediate facility upgrade due to the age of the equipment and the technology. There's newer technologies out there. The most difficult part for Rick and Ed and Suez is some of the spare parts are getting harder to find because they don't even make this equipment anymore. And it's a real scramble. Now, the next bullet, we're not alone with any other wastewater treatment plant in the country. We in Rockland are not any worse than it, but we have a significant inflow and infiltration problem, which is I&I. And what that is, it's due to, say, very old damaged block pipes, cracked pipes, that groundwater infiltrates the system and it gets in the pipes and it's counted as your flow and it has to be treated. Another thing I want to just remind people, then I'm going to be throwing out some heavy numbers to you, that in this assessment, we never looked at the pump stations. We have 13 pump stations in Rockland, 55, 60 miles of pipes. And of those 13 pump stations, 2 are in dire need of repair, and some of the others need mechanical replacements as well. So that's where I wanted to go with the slide presentation of it. Now, I was asked by the town administrator to provide a summer report, which I did, and I'll read some of it. I'm trying to find out where I want to read his comments to it. Hold on a minute. I sent this on the 14th of December to Doug. And I'll be going over that in a second, but here is his reply. And he goes, Chuck, I'm very concerned about the July 14th, not the 14th, no. Where is that? Excuse me. Bear with me 1 second. I got too much crap going on here. Well, won't tell you what he said was that he's aware of the situation at the facility. Unfortunately, due to budget constraints and the COVID impact on it, he's actually predicting a shortfall in our budget. And that we're going to have to totally rely on the fees we collect or tax, or even look at abatements or grants. So with that said, I'm going to read, this is my summary of the study. And again, I want to emphasize that this is my summary. It is not the reflection or interpreted of the Board of Rockland Sewer Commissioners. The first thing people need to know in Rockland that there's a lot of confusion and misconception that the sewer department is funded by tax dollars. It is not. The Rockland Sewer Department is funded thoroughly and solely through the fees it collects for new connections and services, not your tax dollar. So with that, here is my summary that I'm reading into the record. Wright Pierce Consulting Engineers, who have never done work for this facility, was hired to conduct a very in-depth evaluation of the wastewater treatment plant, the equipment, and all the assets involved in our treatment process. This study does not include the 13 substations, 3 of which are in dire need of replacement or repairs, or the underground infrastructure in the town. The release of the draft assessment study indicates that Rockland wastewater treatment plant requires an immediate upgrade to address the aging infrastructure at the facility and to provide us with the capacity to meet the demand for growth as well as the new and future permit regulations. The majority of the equipment is 50 years old and well beyond its useful life. The infrastructure includes all the tanks, buildings, electrical, and HVAC systems. There are numerous high-value, critical items to our process that could have a severe ramifications if they should fail before an upgrade is undertaken. Now, these ramifications could include the EPA issuing Rockland a consent order, which would force us to comply to their terms and conditions, possible fines, and if a catastrophic failure should occur, and what I'm looking at is French's Stream, then we're facing lawsuits. We were told very bluntly that we should prepare a contingency plan for when a major failure occurs, not if one should happen. Those are their words, not mine. The facility has a design capacity of 2.5 million gallons a day. And with a safety factor at 10% to deal with high water events, which means in a brand new installation in perfect condition, we should plan to peak at 2.25 million gallons a day. Now, as the years go on, wear and tear in the system, your design capacity diminishes with age due to mechanical dependability. And it's like a car. It takes its toll mechanically with higher mileage, and you can't keep driving it as hard or taking long trips because you can't depend on it. Except in this case, it's an uninterrupted beating every day on this system. And we continue to add new users. Again, this is my opinion and not the opinion of the board. We need a break with this system, not a pause. We need to catch up with the I&I before we take on any new large connection of users. And this is what I recommended to them. Because if you chase I&I and you don't address the facility, equipment is going to continue to wear out even more. You will never catch up if we keep adding users and increase the flow just to get developers money, because you can't because we increase the risk of a system failure. You also do not get the additional safety capacity that you will need to deal with during the interruptions for an upgrade construction. That's just poor planning if we do allow that to happen. We're advised by Wright Pierce to address the electrical issue systems first before anything else. We're addressed by Wright Pierce to address the electrical system, the electrical switchgear, and the HVAC system before we begin on the mechanical upgrade. In some instances, during high water events, water actually flows through the electrical boxes and conduits. The electric part of this project alone should take at least 2 years to complete, and my dollar estimate on the electrical and HVAC should be around $4 million. Then most, not all the mechanical work will have to be done in the dry season of May through September because of low flow. Now, these dates are going to be fluid because it would all depend on how long it takes to get financing. And I don't see any progress toward this upgrade for at least 2 years because of the economic situation. Now, this situation is not news to Town Hall or the residents because it's been in every year in the Town End report going back to 2005. I have been very vocal to the town administrator, board of selectmen, and the board of sewer commissioners since late 2017 that we're in bad shape. And we are looking at a $40 to $50 million upgrade. Now, with the tax increase from the new approved school in 2019 estimated at $400 a household, the high unemployment rate with business, commercial, industrial slowdowns with COVID, this is a tough sell to the people of Rockland for this upgrade. The upgrade will cost us at the very least $50 million, or another $100 to $150 per household in taxes. Now, if we had done this in 2007, like we told the EPA we wouldn't be in this situation or having these constraint issues conversations now. Based on the average inflation rate of 1.64% over the years, $50 million today dollar value would have been $37 million in 2010, a difference of $13 million. The sewer department should have been looking at grant money, or at the very least asking town hall to do it since 2007, to upgrade and repair the facility instead of taking funds earmarked for I&I and falling further behind. But nobody even looked or inquired about doing that. Town hall meets with department heads on a regular basis, so I find it hard to believe that the discussion did not take place. But in all fairness, every one of those repairs that were made were absolutely necessary, but we didn't have the adequate budget funds to cover it. And I want to stick in something now to the people of Rockland. Suez constantly told us of this, but they were limited by their budget constraints. So nobody can pin anything on Suez. They've done a great job. However, people are going to ask how this happened. And this, again, is my opinion and my frustration. With an open administrative order since 2006 for repeated flow violations, and we gave them corrective actions that we said we would commit to do in 2007, so we would come into compliance with our permit. The three major corrective actions that Rockland agreed to and said we were, and some were in place, was an immediate moratorium on new users. If new users were allowed, they had to pay a fee for I&I work that had to cover the removal of 11 gallons of wastewater for every 1 gallon they put into the system. We had a comprehensive study. We told them we had a comprehensive study in progress which would evaluate the condition of the facility. And this was in February 2007. Again, this is my opinion. In 2005, the board hired a superintendent who had no wastewater experience. He happened to be the brother-in-law of the chair who remained on the board but stepped down for Walter to be chair. In the superintendent's defense, however, in some of the instances, he did what he could with no wastewater technical background. However, we still took $300,000 in 2006 from the I&I fund. We spent it on digestive fit repair, which failed within 2 weeks. And it sat idle ever since. We never pursued the installer for a warranty claim on the work. It was important enough for us to warrant spending $300,000. So even I'm asking why. I wouldn't, and I know the answer why, but I'm not going to go into that. The board took town meeting money approved in May of 2007 to conduct an upgrade study that we told the EPA was in progress in February of that year. We spent it on a phosphorus study instead. The money was never replaced. And again, this study doesn't even include the 13 substations. In almost every single year-end town report since 2007, the age of the facility, the capacity issue, the poor condition of the equipment, the lack of spare parts due to age was mentioned, yet we never revisited the facility study. And I place the responsibility of that solely on town hall for not following up. And the EPA, we told the EPA in 2000 we'd place a moratorium on new developers. Yet since then, we've issued close to 200 new permit connections, not just units, but those connections included individual units, multi-unit, large developments without addressing the capacity issue. Unfortunately, we were forced to continue to use I&I repairs for funds for repairs we yes that are needed, but we could use that money for I&I work to reduce our flow. And here is where we should have been researching grant money. Never done. Again, to be fair to the superintendent and in the past years too, there was a fair amount of I&I work going on, but we had limited funds to do that because we were chasing because we were dealing with repairs. In the past, we've spent over $800,000 in studies and reports written by contractors that could have been done in-house, but we didn't have the experience in place to write those technical documents. We didn't go up in our fees for over 16 years. Everything else in the world goes up. You got to ask why. We didn't have the money for repairs, but this board found the money to allow the superintendent to go for 2 nights at the Boston Copley Marriott to attend a seminar in Boston. It's
Hey,
money
Chuck?
that can be used for repairs.
Chuck?
We didn't have the money for repairs. But
Chuck.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think I've heard enough of this right now.
Well, Walter, you're gonna hear from the people, so you better get ready.
Yeah, okay. Okay, we're going on.
Okay, go right ahead, Walter.
Okay,
This has got to be into the record, and I will
grant
submit.
hire license renewals. Robin?
I apologize, I was muted. I have quite a few of them because everyone renews at this time of year.
Yeah.
So if you can bear with me.
Mhm.
Let's see, I have Glenn Lapointe. All of his paperwork is in order. It's a renewal. If you don't mind, I'd like to go through all of them and have one vote at the end, or do you want to vote on each one?
No, you can go through all of them.
All right, thank you.
Again.
All right, the second one is actually a new drain layer, C Spirito Inc. All of their paperwork is in order, their fees are paid. David had checked their references, so we're good with them. The third one is Tascon Corporation, a renewal, fees paid, all paperwork in order. The next one, Dandel Construction Inc. That's also a renewal. All of their paperwork is in order. Fees are paid. TAI Aria Corporation, 36 Oak Street in Hingham. They're a renewal as well. Fees are paid. Paperwork in order. Iaria Brothers, Inc. at 33 Oak Street in Hingham. They're actually separate, but they have a drain layer license as well. All the paperwork is in order. Fee is paid. That's a renewal. Diaz Construction Company, Inc. That's a renewal. Fees are paid. All of their paperwork's in order. Sean Farrell Excavation, Inc. They have all of their paperwork in order. They've paid. That one's good. That's a renewal. Quality Septic and Site Work, Inc. They were new. They provided the fee, all the paperwork, and their references, which were contacted. T.W. Hannigan, a renewal. Fees are paid, paperwork's in order. D.S. Benoit Corporation, all of their paperwork is in order, fees are paid. McDougal Brothers Enterprise, renewal, fees paid, paperwork in order. Sandstone Construction, fees are paid, paperwork in order. That was the last one. If you wouldn't mind voting on those, I'd appreciate it.
I'll make a motion, we approve the drain licenses as read.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, on to the superintendent update. Dave?
Yeah, I don't have much, just a few bullet points. So well, Chuck kind of ran with the right pair, so I just wanted to just make a note that was just about done. Chuck, we're in agreement. They're supposed to be wrapping everything up February, right?
Yeah, they've got a rough draft complete. They're doing their in-house review. They said we should see the final report probably within the next 2 weeks, week to next 2 weeks.
Okay.
That report will have, it's gonna be nothing different from the meat and potatoes that they showed us. But what they're gonna have is a dollar value assessed to each line item. What they want to do is, they want to prepare a comprehensive wastewater management plan for us. Now, what that would do is if we have that in place, it would allow us to apply for 0% loan funding, grant funding and loans. But if we go with just their report, so, excuse me, their report, that's not going to account for, it's not going to carry any weight going for grant money. They need that CWMP. I figure that would probably run, I want to say anywhere from $8,500 to $10,000. So that would be the next step. You know, we're going to have to talk to them on that.
Yeah, I talked to Kevin Pierce a couple of weeks ago, and told him the situation, obviously, with the town on budgeting purposes when we were coming up with our articles for this year to include with the capital planning, which I have a meeting after this for capital planning. So I did earmark an article to move forward into another phase. It wouldn't be the design phase, but Wright Pierce is going to get that together so we can keep the ball moving in the positive
Yeah, but
direction.
I think if you put in a $10,000 figure, that should cover it.
Yeah, we put in for 300, so we could keep that going, and then also start like phase one, which would probably be like 5 phases, so we could keep moving forward, because so eventually we get to the design phase and we could have some grant money for the engineering aspect of it.
Did you say
Yeah.
300,000?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, I have to go to capital planning tonight, but that was the article for it.
Now, is that including INI or is that?
No, that we have an INI, a small INI, and then we also, I'm gonna touch base on the AECom contract, which would be another bullet point. But
Okay.
talking with that, and that's just earmarked funds for an article, and that could get smaller, but that's where we started and we could go back.
Okay,
So, yeah. And then the other contract we have was with AECom for the INI SSES study. So that'll be 99% of the town, so they can evaluate and pinpoint the high NI areas that we could go after or make developers go after, with that 11-1 ratio you brought up a little further. So he's supposed to start that. That has been subcontracted out as far as the camera and, some of the structure evaluations and the pipes. So we're having them start over on any of the roads that we have coming up, so we do the same thing with drainage. So we thought it would be a little bit more prevalent if they started the INI work on where we already know the drainage is bad, where the sewer pipes and the services are running parallel with the drainage system.
out of curiosity, do we have the town broken up into quadrants or zones that, like, say, we've already completed zone 1 INI or?
Well, we do. So what we do is over at the highway, we have the town split up into nine areas, and we pass that on to AECom so we could work those areas. But we also thought we would hit those areas first where we know we have pending development and also projected development, and start at those areas and then work our way out from there. So
Do you
like
have anything that shows where we've already completed INI work?
Yeah, so going back, I mean, AECom is who John's used over the probably 12 years. So they, their study, I guess when John got here, they were running a 3.5 million gallons per day. And with the INI work that they've done, they've got that down, that rolling average down to 2.5 million gallons a day from everything that I got from that. But he's still sending over more paperwork. So I've asked for everything they've done in the past as well, just so I can give that to the commissioners moving forward. So reports that are completed of the I&I report, we finished that in the annual report. I'll be forwarding those to for the commissioners to look at those. Like I said, we have the capital articles where I'll be going in tonight for. That was the major article that we just talked about. And then also an I&I article to keep moving forward so we could do in-house I&I for some, small work, whether it be, pipelining, camera work, and then also some structure replacement.
How much you put in for that ballpark?
100,000. Yeah. So, and then we're rolling over an article too. So we didn't want to leave the new superintendent with nothing to do. So we rolled over some of the I&I money so we can use that. And then we also put in a article for the pumps maintenance and repair, which we're hoping to do with those two pump stations that you made reference to, which are actually, correct me if I'm wrong, Rick and Ed, those are injector stations at Spruce and Butternut, right?
Correct.
All right, so what we were looking to do there is, we're getting I&I feedback on those, where those are firing off, the pots are firing off, and on high flow. So Rick or Ed, can you just touch base on those just a little bit on, I know we talked and it's very preliminary as far as the I&I know stations and how much they fire off at high flow, or?
Sure. So one of the big problems over there's a lot of I&I, especially at the Butternut ejector station. So one of the problems, actually even Chuck even mentioned before, it's a compresses down there. It's a little tank that fills up 50 gallons and it fires, it continuously. And what we've noticed over the past years, the I&I is so bad in that area that these pots just continuously fire. The Suez employees get called out multiple times, sometimes, in 1 week, because the station just cannot keep up with the excess flow. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to change that ejector station to a submersible station. Basically rip out the guts and put a couple of pumps down there with a sub panel up on top. I think it's not gonna do away with the I&I in the area. And like Chuck said, that we haven't really touched I&I, but it'll at least stop the 26 potential houses from backing up, especially on Butternut. I think it's something we really need to look at sooner than later. And the other problem we have is we just can't get the parts. And Chuck mentioned before, we've had electricians down there, they don't make them anymore. So that's just the big problem that we have at Butternut.
Right. So just to go back to that article, so we put it under pump repair and maintenance. So obviously there's, you made reference to the pumps, some of the pumps are obsolete to repair or actually to refurbish. So what we're looking to do with those injector stations over time, maybe one a year, if we did one this year, you could use some of the I&I funds, and you could also use, some of the developers. If there's a developer in that area, you could charge them, and then you could also use repair and maintenance for that pump. So you're not just hitting one ledger item where the monies are coming from. You could split it up so you could get more done with that money. So, that's what we were looking at, short term, take one of those injector stations, for the next 2 years. And then, like I said, I have that written up, and then I will forward that to the new superintendent on what's going there. So, and then,
Dave, while you mentioned that, the new super, and you talked about the Wright Pierce funding that you put in.
right.
I had asked them to stick in something like $10,000 for engineering support that the new super may need
Right.
to get up to speed. So, count that as part of your 300,000.
Yeah, well, like I said, that's like preliminary. I just wanted to get the ball rolling. I'm not even sure, you know, what we're gonna be at, you know, as far as receipts and then article wise, so I'm hoping, you know, we couldn't go too high, so hoping we can get, you know, some of that, you know, voted on.
Hey,
So
shoot for the
obviously-
moon and settle for whatever.
Yeah, that wasn't the moon, but at least, you know, at least it would definitely make a, you know, a statement, you know, help us down here. And then, like I said, I got those, so got the capital planning meeting tonight, and then, you know, business as usual, Robin's been doing the, you know, the receipts and getting the, bills out, and then, we've got grease traps early scheduling in the morning. And then a lot of dig safes, because water's been having a lot of issues with, pipes over the winter, and, just marking things out and, working with them, so that's just about it, so.
Hey, Dave, what's going on down at Norman? Are they still working? I thought they were on strike.
No, as far as I know, I mean, I usually go down there just to check out the site like once a week. They're still moving with it. Yeah. I know there's strikers down there, and then there's police details, but I don't really get involved in that, and just check out the drainage has been signed off, and they you know, the culvert, and then that's about it. So they're still moving. That building is going right up, so.
Okay, thank you, Dave.
Yep.
And last, Suez update, Rick or Ed?
Yep, thank you. So I just want to let everyone know, residents, and, you know, I've been at this facility for a lot of years, and the previous boards and superintendent, we've done a lot of work at your wastewater plant. You know, unfortunately, there's just so much money to go around, but we've always been very proactive. And typically when I go to the board and I ask for money to do some of these projects, and it typically always gets approved. Problem right now we're having, because of how old the facility is, like Chuck mentioned before, you know, we putting so many Band-Aids on this facility. Band-Aids they're not sticking anymore. That's one of our biggest problems. So anyways, I just wanted to get that out, that out in the open. As far as things going on at the plant, we just finished a digestive sludge project. That we ended up doing that, and everything costs money. I think everyone should know. I think we all know that money doesn't grow on trees, and everything is so expensive. We just finished a digestive sludge project where we didn't have a backup. We had no choice. We had to put this backup system in. Just finished it. That was approximately $35,000. We've got a pump at one of our Hingham South pump station, where I'm sure a lot of residents know where it is. It's the biggest pump station in town. We don't have a backup pump up there. We're working on getting 3 quotes. Again, we're looking around $32,000 to $35,000 for a backup pump. So you can see everything is so expensive, you know, when you start, you know, working at the wastewater plant. Another update we have is the Hallam engineering company on our digestive boiler. It's kind of got stuck in the mud a little bit, and some of it due to COVID, but one of the biggest problems was we want to replace the digester boiler out there, and it had to be UA approved. Well, the problem is they don't make boilers that are UA approved for methane gas. So Hallam has, since they've gone to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and they actually filled out a variance so that we can get this thing, this boiler, at least in their plans. The next part of this project will be to put it out to bid. I don't know how much money it's going to cost to replace that thing. Estimate maybe 150,000. Again, all I'm trying to show everybody is how much things cost at the wastewater plant. I'm not going to touch about the rate case. Chuck did an excellent job on that. Again, we're waiting for the final report to come out. Once that does come out, Suez has a lot of resources, technical departments. They are more than willing to look at it and work with the town of Rockland. We want to be partners. We've been partners for many years. And like I said, like I told Chuck before, as soon as we get that report, I will push it up right to the top of Suez, and we'll work with the town. And that's about it. Butternut, spruce, I think we just talked about that. I really don't, you know, like I said, it needs to be done before we end up backing up some of those residents on those streets. And the last thing I have is personnel issues. As far as we got a full staff right now at the facility, eight employees, plus I actually was able to figure out my budget and I have a part-timer working on the weekends. So that's about it. Walter.
With that, I just want to add one thing to the people out there that Suez has done, in my opinion, a remarkable job with what they've had to work with. There's no slighting. What they do day in and day out, we should be very appreciative. That's all I've got to say.
Thank you, Chuck. I appreciate it.
Is that all, Rick?
That's all I have, Walter.
You all set? Okay. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll
Thank you.
second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you to everyone for coming and